The line of iron spiders filed up the mighty hill into the southern hive's domain, stamping in unison as Twitch waved them forwards.
I don't know what I've been told. Beep, beep, beep. But Fleshy Brain's got too much mold. Beep, beep, beep. Sound off. Beep, beep. Sound off. Beep, beep. Take it, Agnew. Go, beep, go, beep, go, beep, go, beep.
The machines were physically unable to become tired of doing this, so it carried on for a long, long time. Eventually, the column came upon a hive, blocking the mountaintop pass that snaked through into the hidden realm of the other ones. Darkness had fallen, but it was still clear to see that scores of other ones were nefariously strolling about campfires, deviously chatting and picking at dried plant stalks in some sort of monstrous fashion. A hive of scum and villainy, to be sure, but Gustavsen seemed hesitant to go further.
The Queen is not here. The drones are of no interest. We must not ripple the fog, he said.
What this meant in practice was that the spiders had to climb along the steep valley slopes to reach the other end in secret. Jamming their legs into the dirt with each step, they whirred up and away, invisible in the dead of night. But they didn't make it very far, thanks to those eternal liabilities, the biologicals.
You know, Big Bug, since we went to all the effort of getting these here death machines to do our bidding, why don't we just go on through and dispense the relevant services to those uppity hurl hoarders?
Neil asked Gustavsen.
We are not here to kill them, was the reply.
Now that's wacky. Had me fooled. I got the straight up opposite impression. You're good at this, huh?
Their hive is corrupt, not they,
Gustavsen shouted. Despite the compliment paid, the other ones down in the valley came to investigate the noise with weapons drawn, and the jig was up.
Machines and their slaves,
another one called.
I prefer the term harem, really,
Twitch remarked, his two-handed sword flashing in the approaching torchlight.
But don't tell Catty, she's mad at me as it is. I think the General has it worse, Squire,
Neil said.
Aye, but you know, the General was in a lot deeper with the Dioscuri sisters, if you know what I mean. Hey, forget it. Drop the gossip, alright?
Rick's voice echoed through their processors.
Sorry, General. Guess I forgot, you know. Oh, you think you're funny, huh? Alright, calm down. Where's your sense of humor? Spent 1,000 years sitting at a table with fucking Sad Neil. That compiles your code in all kinds of directions, but not to brevity, levity, or revelry. Still got that rhyme recursion, though,
Neil commented. In the world outside of the skeleton CPUs, the spiders were beating back raids from the other ones, and the non-other ones were getting stuck in too. Or, too stuck in. By morning they had battled their way past the hive, but many of the only ones had been injured by their more martially gifted cousins.
Beep! We must ride! Beep!
Beep declared.
Spider Rider!
The other hivers immediately called out, and it was so. The bots dragged their mortal masters onwards. They had made it through the great teeth, and were entering the wide flat tongue that was the southern hive's domain, known as the Royal Valley. In the center of this grey veil was a large metal dome from the early Second Empire, surrounded by purplish teardrops of Mech. This was the Other One, seat of the corrupt queen. However, the whole valley was well aware that they had unwelcome visitors, and the invading column was skirmished with all morning.
I will protect you, my queen,
Gustavsen shouted amidst one of the attacks, jumping down from his machine mount, spraining his leg on the uneven ground below, and keeling over at once.
Oh, I wish you hadn't protected me. Beep!
Beep said, pointing her unloaded, undrawn bow at the other ones, and shaking it about as if it was recoiling. For some reason, with Gustavsen rolling about on the floor below, the Queen's attacks lost their devastating effect. The iron spiders didn't have this problem, and the advance continued all the same. By afternoon, they were close enough to the Great Southern Hive to see its drones wandering about, and its elite Hive Guard soldiers loitering inside the central dome. Long pipes and bundles of wires were running down from the roof towards a pile of Mech in the middle of all this. Surely it was the evil throne itself. Strangely though, With the attackers clearly in view, the hive's defenders seemed unperturbed. The string of spiders outside was ignored, giving them time to offload their decreasingly alive biological cargo. Gustavsen was immobile and was propped up behind a big rock nearby.
"This is a sour feeling," he said, shaking his head.
Do not worry, nice prince. Beep.
Beep said.
We can give the beep from here. Beep. We will kill the bad queen with our thoughts.
Huh. Remember when we tried to make it so all the hivers could do that?
Neil said.
That's on the forget list, pal. We're getting away with it so far.
Twitch muttered to him. The hivers settled in to chill at their rock and ordered their loyal bots to go and make an assault upon the queen's lair. Obeying, they stamped off in 2 neat lines, walking virtually, that is to say literally, up to the entrance to the dome, with not a single eyelash batted. Although eyelashes were in short supply, so who's to say if that's remarkable or not. The ambivalence of the southern hivers was remarkable though, but when the reason became clear, a very certain remark came to mind.
Oh shit,
Twitch remarked. Yep, that's the one. A creaking Goliath lumbered down from the dome, walking not so much on its steely legs, but more on its hulking 10-meter arms. It was made in the image of what gorillas had looked like many thousands of years ago, but without the weakness of soft flesh. It thumped over to the ranks of iron spiders and skeleton minders.
Those arms are made from goop whoopers in the old hydrofactorium, don't you think?
Neil said.
Aye, you're right. Scratch me name in a few of them. You see it?
Twitch said.
Zooming in, looks like it says 2 slices short of a sandwich on the side there. I knew it! Dropped the 'woe slices short of a sand for brevity, and I'm your skeleton man. Real smart. It's like the phrase, all killer, no filler. But the opposite. Reminds me of this conversation.
By the way, the enormous robot gorilla thing was taking very poorly to the iron spiders. It chanted as it battered the bots away with its powerful goop whoopers. Spiders were sent reeling through the air, but their great number was hard to overcome. They clambered on the king's body and jabbed its wiry mechanics before being flung away and starting again. The sight was a metallic mess, as jarring as the battle between the chants of King and Beep emitted by each side respectively. The audio-visual jumble intensified when a team of hiver soldiers came out to assist their king, revealing that very intention with loud shouts. They must have sensed the great machine failing, as it seemed to be slowing with each blow from the guild's spiders. Yet those spiders were depleted also, with most now missing parts just as vital to them as the goop whoopers were to the king. The inclusion of spear-wielding hivers sealed the deal, and quickly the legion was finished off. Then the defenders turned on the skeletons.
They didn't say we'd lose. Fucking hell,
Twitch complained, proceeding to deepen the loss as a bash shook his porch so much he shut down. The other 2 were lights out swiftly, and that was that. A big pile of broken machines was left on the field, while the southern hivers led the jittering king away. How could the Manxand hivers preside over such a crushing defeat? Well, they hadn't noticed at all actually, as their hiding place had been stumbled upon by a local patrol. The servants of a would-be queen fended off those of a queen currently being, and then Beep and Gustavsen took a peek over at the iron pile.
Oh no, they all died. Beep.
Beep gasped.
"Fools! The opposite path would have benefited us all greatly,"
Gustavsen complained. The hivers went in for a closer look as darkness fell. A few of the spiders were still whirring away and managed to right themselves at Beep's command.
Do not be dead. Beep.
Was the command specifically, and those bots of truly loyal hearts dragged themselves away to a hiding spot nearby. Despite the proximity of the other one dome, and the volume of Beep's demanding shrieks, no attention was given by the recent victors. Therefore, the rest of the Broken Circuit Brigade could be gradually dragged to the hiding spot as well. Truly the order of Queen Beep cannot be defied, for all reverted to being alive soon enough. It's hard to actually kill a machine intelligence, you see, for much of their physical body is just for sport and is very much replaceable. Once the mechanical mechanics of Agnew, Neil and Twitch were rebooted, they saw to all the rammed ram and chipped chips. The flashes of their soldering irons lit up the pitch-dark night.
Welcome to Flesh Flayer 4900.
One of the spiders recited as its power returned.
Warning, it looks like this unit was shut down unexpectedly, starting in safe mode. If you didn't expect to be beaten up by a giant robot yeti, you clearly weren't seeing what I was seeing in the minutes preceding shutdown, Buster.
Neil scolded it.
Now you take this safe mode malarkey and shove it where the functions don't function. If you got a danger mode or something, that'd be real great. But I was built for love,
the spider moaned.
Aye, and I was built to take all the peas out of some rich fug's alphabeti spaghettis, but here we all are,
Twitch said.
This is not a time of peace, it is a time of war. All must serve,
Gustavsen told them.
The dawn will be the final light the false queen drinks. Prepare the soldiers for a charge.
Thus charged with charging for a charge, the iron spiders ran their diagnostics and did the iron spider equivalent of licking their wounds. Due to the darkness, what this actually looked like is unknown.
Beep! I have an idea. It involves rubbing. Beep!
Beep suddenly announced.
War is hell, alright,
Neil said. The hivers were all ears, though.
If we spread our feelings onto the soldiers, they will not seem like machines. Beep! That way, they can approach like other ones. Beep!
Superb idea, my queen,
Gustavsen called out. At once, the hivers began spreading their feeling onto the iron spiders. Due to the darkness, what this actually looks like is unknown. Thanks, Stobe, for the darkness. But whatever they did, it seemed to work. By around 2 in the morning, the spiders were all roughly held together by the skeleton's repairs, and the hivers had done stuff, altogether allowing the spider column to walk right up to the roughly cut archway leading into the big dome. The hiver soldiers wandering about just clambered around the machines like they were furniture, with perhaps the odd utterance of,
"Your shape is unusual,"
and the like. Hiver magic prevails again. But there seemed to be some limit to the spell, for after the spiders entered the dome, the mood changed. Inside, the pillars supporting the roof had been wreathed in reddish hivermank, glistening with moisture in the light of several fires. In the center of the room was a throne, flanked by tall armored guards. Sat upon it was a pinkish lump, plated around the stomach with rusting metal. Of course, it was a certain pretender monarch.
Ting tang, walla walla, bing bang,
She screamed with a mechanical whine. This, one supposes, was the signal. The advance of the spiders was halted by hiver warriors leaping down from walkways that spiraled around beneath the upper reaches of the dome. At once the entire spider cadre was beset with spears, drills and ropes, but in turn they lashed out with weighted arms and stamped with spiked feet.
Are we winning this time?
Twitch asked. He was peeking around the dome entrance, the guards outside having already been drawn in.
Well, given the large, goop-whooping hands currently wrapped around my waist, I do wonder what fate awaits me,
Neil said. As he said it, he was lifted into the air by a certain giant robot gorillo, which also grabbed Twitch and Agnew in one fell swoop.
You see, boys, this is when you should expect a shutdown, alright? Kinda obvious.
Neil lectured the spiders. The king threw the skeletons into the middle of the dome, smashing them against the hulls of the spiders with speed enough to shatter even metal. Yes, it was definitely time to expect shutdown. The fighting petered out, with both sides having taken a fair beating, but of the mechs, only King still prowled the arena. Another defeat? Perhaps not, for as the hivers picked around the new pile of scrap they had won, the truth of the preceding sentence was unveiled. King was the only mech left alive, but remember, the queen was a mech too.
There is more fog! Beep! There is more fog!
Beep beeped back behind the hiding rock. She beeped it out with such enthusiasm that some more of the other one's soldiers rumbled them, and another fight broke out. Yet her jubilation was not misguided. In front of the throne, the other one queen lay still, the arm of an iron spider wedged in her round, mechanical stomach. Beside her, 2 hive guards stood sentinel, appearing unconcerned. Did they believe their queen beyond harm? The insight of the king was greater. The robot Hulk stomped over and took in the scene.
"No more king,"
it stated, turning away and walking to the back entrance of the dome.
King, where are you going?
Another one asked.
"Free, free, free,"
he said, passing from the hive and out into the dawn-drenched valley, never to be seen again. These events were recounted to Gustavsen and crew by a couple of the iron spiders who used the resulting confusion to boot up and sneak away. But the bad news was the rest of them were leaking oil, venting gas, and other things one imagines are bad news for a machine.
We have won! Beep! We can go and sleep now! Beep!
Beep announced, but Gustavsen shook his head.
The machine lifeforms are in service of the human prince also. It would be frozen of us to ignore this, he said.
But we cannot pick them up! Beep!
Then we require strength. It is time to master the art of the ball.
So saying, Gustavsen produced an AI core from his rucksack.
"The ball!"
the other hivers cawed. The ball was passed around the group, and everyone had a go at twiddling the little knobs and levers on it, as well as plugging their fingers, feet, and other protrusions into the various sockets. For some reason, it remained quite inert. Then Beep laid her grubby mitts on it and held it up against her face. "Beep!" she said, surely to the surprise of all. A few lights blinked on.
Beep!
She said again, bucking all known trends.
Beep, is that you?
Izumi's voice said back.
Beep!
Beep?
Beep.
The hivers echoed. Eventually, proper telephone manner was established, and the pyrrhic victory was explained. Far away, Isaiah geared up with the 1,000 guardians, packing enough choco bread to fuel a mighty rescue, although lacking the simple raincoats required to make it not a skin-scorching affair on that drizzly day.
Let's do this then,
Rick said, twirling his stick and joining the crew.
Sending in a general to do a squire's work. What's this knightly order come to anyway?
More like sending a prince to do a queen's work, Nuke said. He trudged out into the mud.
Just get them back here. Try not to show off or anything,
Izumi called from the shelter.
Oh, come on. We're gonna be showing off till the show's over,
Rick proclaimed. He and Nuke struck a power pose, and we know precisely what it looked like due to the light of day, so check your local manga store for the full rundown as soon as you can. The big show rolled out, following the deep spider-bot tracks up the mountainside and running slap bang into that border hive. Survivors lingered and tried to harry the rescue party, but were not successful. The battle cry of "the faster we kill, the faster we can stop simultaneously feeling wet and on fire" was a powerful one. Their multi-elemental charge swept into the battle between originals and others down by the hive. Gustavsen and crew were saved from being compost for the hashish by this timely arrival, but the situation remained reminiscent of a hiver's favourite hashish-growing medium. "What the fuck is going on?" Nuke asked.
The machines died. Beep!
Beep reported.
But so did the bad queen. There will be fog. Beep! But the machines will quiet before then. Beep! We will watch you save them, as a sign of our gratitude. Beep! We will not laugh.
Right, get ready guys. I'm gonna hit the nest and grab some honey, Nuke said, launching into a sprint right for the dome.
Get Twitch first. He's sweeter than honey, and he knows how that old shit actually works,
Rick called. Nuke complied, zipping into the dome, tumbling through the pile of robots, and coming upon Twitch's wide, three-eyed face sticking out from under a spider. Nuke heaved him out and started hauling him right back out the door. The nearby other ones slowly realized what was going on. They may not have realized their queen was dead, but her loss was beginning to poison their minds. Still, once you realize you have to kill someone, the muscle memory kicks in and the weapon starts swinging. Nuke gave it all he could, rushing back to the rest of the team with a huge mob of hivers on his heels.
I'm tired as fuck, boy,
he wheezed as he and Twitch tumbled to the floor in front of the shack. The pursuing hivers barreled on in to the wall of scales and muscle. Tired of running all the way from the camp, the Shek struggled to keep up with the furious energy of the other ones, not to mention their numbers. If it weren't for those couple of surviving spiders limping up to fight once again, the battle might have gone in the Southern Hive's favour. When the guild finally saw victory, it took the form of most of the Guardians wounded on the ground, along with most of the original hivers. Nasty, but with the action over, Nuke could crawl over to Twitch and start reconnecting various pins and wires all over. Within a few minutes, the skeleton jolted to life.
Can we stop getting our asses handed to us, please, lads?
He asked.
We won, apparently,
Rick said.
but Neil and Agnew are in there. So were you, till the Royal Retriever flew on in. Ah, those two little shites. I'll get 'em,
Twitch said, leaping to his feet.
You see, the hivers did this, with the feeling juice. The other ones can't see me, you hear?
With this coherent reasoning delivered, he ran off to the dome. Nuke was about to complain at the wasted effort of saving him, but sure enough, he returned with Agnew in hand and with no heat on his tail. Oh, okay. What was the thing you were talking about? Nuke asked, but Twitch shook his head.
Not for one so young. Right, I'll grab the other poser, then we can roll out,
he said. Thing was, when he went back to the dome this time, the other ones were starting to get a little twitchy, funnily enough.
He is the Foglight! Foglight!
Someone shouted. Various voices agreed. Thus, when Twitch lugged Neil out of that dome, the entire population of the hive decided to follow him.
I ain't a foglight. I ain't got the foggiest what you're blabbing about. Also, you're ugly, and your mum's a fucking easy cook oven. So's mine, to be fair, though,
he said, but the hive followed the so-called foglight with equal speed and fascination. When they saw the guild, they were extremely upset.
Shiny pieces! It's blinding! Dim the lights!
A cry went up. What this meant was that the hive descended upon the poor guild, who were feeling rather descended upon already. Fucking hell! Hive swarming! Nuke shouted, yet the aptness of this descriptor was little consolation. Like reeds before a wave, the guild were flattened.
But where is the light?
A hiver asked. A good question. All began looking for something, and in the process started picking up guild members to carry around. Thus, while many were left bruised and beaten to wait out the night in the open, others were taken to be tied to stakes outside the hive and carefully inspected by the locals. Nuke was unconsciously paraded around by torchlight, while another VIP, Beep, was the centerpiece of the static exhibit. They weren't being killed, which was nice, but nor were their wounds covered or their stomachs filled. Were our heroes so close to victory to be left to rot and wither? It seemed that this rescue attempt was far from over.